So for this Tech Tuesday video, we're going to be diving into a fascinating subject. At least it should be for you, because that subject is you. And you've probably heard by now, as a common colloquialism, that anytime you get something free nowadays, free to use anyway, you are the product. And now, even for the products that you pay for, you are the product. You are traded back and forth dozens and dozens of times a day in an ever-growing stack of data that becomes more and more valuable over time. It's insidious, it's corruptible, and it's part of something even bigger, the attention economy. What's the attention economy, you ask? Well, buckle up, folks. Here we go. Nearly every media service that you consume, you utilize, whatever it happens to be, because we use a lot of various types of media services. Well, we use a lot of different electronic services. But regardless, everyone that you utilize is part of a larger whole. I know that seems weird. We're going to talk about it in several minutes to come, but let's just say that you're packaged many, many times over by a handful of entities. And that does sound scary. No, I'm not saying that everything is owned by one or a few entities, although I guess to a certain extent that's actually true, because obviously the government has stopped enforcing things like antitrust, so on and so forth, and many companies have been allowed to buy other companies and grow and grow and grow, eliminating competition and preventing it actually outright. So in some ways, I guess it could be true, but that's not what we're focused on today. What we're actually here to focus on is the largest animal of them all. Believe it or not, it controls what will be made, what will be spun or how it will be spun, and how it will be propped up and consumed by you and me. It's the attention economy. I know, strange. What is the attention economy? Well, in a nutshell, it is an economic theory that places value on your attention. Well, and my attention and, well, everybody's attention. Sounds simple, right? Well, let's start here. One of the primary articles that I used for this particular video comes from Nielsen Norman Group. And they actually define attention. They go about doing it. I think they took one of the dictionary descriptions or definitives. Maybe it was a clinical statement, not sure. And because this is part of a much larger conversation, I don't know that I'm going to be able to get all of this in one video. In fact, I know I'm not. So let's start here with Nielsen Norman Group's definition of attention. And again, this is kind of a broad statement, so we'll start with the summary, because this is a huge document that I am utilizing for this video, and this video is going to be much longer. Well, actually, yeah, this is going to be one of the much longer videos I do, and I'll probably have to do more, because I can't get it all into one. Digital products are competing for users' limited attention. Now, that would be you and me. The modern economy increasingly revolves around the human attention span and how products capture that attention. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Attention is defined as a selective focus on some of the stimuli that we are currently perceiving while ignoring other stimuli that happens to be in the environment. Makes sense. That seems a little clinical, probably from a dictionary, but well done there. That's the actual definition. There is an inherent and clear value to our attention, of course. It's incredibly valuable, huge value. It's why this paper that I'm pulling from goes on to explicitly state in common parlance or colloquialism what it means to pay attention. That statement alone, as simple as it is, just implies that our time is both limited and valuable. It's very true. So naturally, we can easily surmise from that which is valuable is marketable. That which is valuable is marketable. Now, what is the demand for that particular valuable resource? Well, if you look at the digital world around us, and believe me, we do every day, every time you consume a video on this platform, it's everywhere. Your attention is incredibly valuable, and I appreciate it when you share your attention here on one of my videos or live streams, so thank you for that. So, for example, let's use something that's about to happen. For the next 2 months, you are going to absolutely be bombarded by political ads from political candidates. You'll also be bombarded with ads from, obviously, issues, right? There's certain issues that drive elections as well. And they're going to come at you from everywhere. I'm not kidding, everywhere. You're going to see them on your phone, on your television, maybe on your watch, your computer, your email, Twitter, Minds, whatever else you consume. Your attention is very much in demand. That's why you're getting bombarded by all of that. And this attention is so valuable, not just the political candidates that are obviously going to be, seeking it, but also to the corporations that control them. That sounds kind of cynical, right? And it's a little more political than I get on my channel. But I don't think it's inaccurate, and I don't think that you would disagree. Now, turn your attention, see what I did there? Turn your attention to the I support current thing crowd. Many people in our sphere call them NPCs for a reason. They add a flag to their bio in support of a country that over 80% of them probably couldn't find on a map. Somehow, they go along with what is being spit at them by these companies that are actually corrupted because they have skin in the game. This is all about that. So why do they do it? Well, the answer is actually pretty easy if you look at this as an economic thing. Their attention has been monopolized by those who profit from them in a variety of ways. But let's stop outside of the politics thing, because again, I don't really do that here. Let's talk about the weaponization of the attention economy, because that actually exists everywhere. And not just, in relation to, somebody's little flag in a bio. Let's use an area of the Nielsen Group paper that actually kind of helped inspire the way I crafted this video. Free-to-play games. The games that you have on your phone. It doesn't matter what game store you use. It doesn't matter what mobile phone you use. It actually doesn't even matter if you use a phone or a computer at this point, or even a console. Because whenever you open up the main menu, you're likely being bombarded with suggestions, game suggestions, right? And that's a curated list of games. They got that because they took what your interests were, because, you're a product, and then they marketed specifically to you based on similar interests, things that were similar, the types of games that you seem to like to play. And of course, that list is designed to pique your interest. It works. It really does. So you can skip, obviously, that whole area. Don't have to pay attention to it at all, but it's already been presented to you. Then you open up one of your free-to-play games. And again, doesn't matter if it's on a phone, tablet, computer, console, doesn't matter. You open up one of your free-to-play games, right? And they have a built-in function that will actually drop ads on you every single level, right? When you progress. Of course, you can also choose upgrades, and that could force you to watch more ads because, again, they have your undivided attention. And finally, they've already built in a mechanism that will guarantee that you see as much of the ad as they can force upon you, because in essence, you've been forced to pay attention. Why? Because that time is valuable to them. They want you to get that upgrade, or they want you to pay for a game, or whatever it is, or maybe buy a sweater, who knows? That's the whole purpose of the free-to-play games. They want to sell you as many times as they can. And believe it or not, by running an ad at you, they're selling you. They're selling you to the advertisers. Well, and they're also selling you whatever it is they're trying to sell you. A lot going on here. So essentially, the free-to-play game is not so free, right? No. You're giving them attention and getting next to nothing for it, because digital goods can be taken away at any point in time, as we've seen. Another great resource for this particular video was this interesting blog that I found. Or I guess it's not even a blog. It has a blog attached, and that's kind of where I focused. It's called thetimelyApp.com. And in a recent article, or blog post, I guess, from actually just a few days ago. They break down in detail how the attention economy is actually being built and deployed and how it's exploiting you. And it's very well written, and again, way too long to go through in the course of this video. And again, I'll probably have to do more of these, but there's a lot going on here. There's also some fun facts that I found during my cursory dive into this, you know, because that's what I'm calling it. I haven't gone that deep. I've gone pretty deep, but there's way more out there. But during the cursory dive, I found an article from Forbes. And it was linked from a few years ago. And again, it's down below. All the resources I'm using are actually down below in the description, so do check those out. It actually stated in this article that the average person is bombarded with somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000 advertisements a day. And this was from information from 2019, so I imagine it's much higher now. I wouldn't, in fact, I would be surprised if it wasn't much higher now. And consider this. With so many things popping at you all the time, these ads and everything else, all these different types of grabs for your attention, whatever it is, you know, because, I mean, even programs are essentially vying for your attention. Well, this overload can't be consumed. I mean, you can't regard it. The human being can't take all of that. It's information overload, you know, it's impossible. That's obviously led to some issues in the advertisement business because their favorability has dropped to around 25%. And I imagine lower now, because again, the number I just used is from 2019. So I imagine favorability of advertisers and advertisements might be lower than 25%. That's insane. And this applies to the entire digital landscape of media consumption. When it comes to attention, it doesn't even have to be good attention. And of course, we've kind of heard that for a long time, although there actually seem to be some changing attitudes in that regard. But again, that's something else I'll have to stick in another video because there are some studies that are showing that, you know, sometimes bad attention's bad and it hurts you badly. I've seen it, like Disney recently. Anyway, we'll keep going. Let's just talk about the heart of the matter because we have to get down to brass tacks here. Do you know why they attack people on Twitter or Minds or InstaFace and Bookgram and all of that? Do you know why these media entities, along with the people that might be in a show or whatever, or these brands, do you know why they attack you? Because it gets attention. It does. It brings attention to their message, for better or worse. It absolutely does. It's a new type of spam. Think of it that way. It's actually hate spam or victim spam. I'm not really sure what to call it yet. In fact, I think somebody else is going to have to name it that can think of something wittier than that. But I just simply want to recognize it for what it is. It's spam. And the problem is that we fall for it, right? We fall for it, and then we start participating in this marketing campaign. That's what we're doing. This all kind of like sprung out of outrage culture, right? Because people were trying to study that going back years now. And obviously fan baiting is only a recent element of it. Let's say that kind of seemed to emerge in the last 8 to 10 years, right? The fan baiting thing. Because we recognize it, it's becoming less effective. We need to recognize this stuff faster. I will say this, Jeremy over at The Quartering actually seems to be recognizing it for what it is. And in a recent video that he did on She-Hulk, well, he calls out the fact that everyone involved in the show is actually just begging for attention, whether it be Jamila Jamil, I think that's her name, or even the showrunner, Jessica Gao, right? They're just absolutely begging for attention by attacking people who don't like the show, which doesn't make any sense. It would seem like you would want to bring them into like the favorable side of the equation, you know, say, well, you know, the next episode's going to be great. It's got this, this, and this. Nope. They're just basically, they're begging by just going on the attack. So that's a marketing campaign I don't want to contribute to. I might react to it once, but I don't know beyond that. Jeremy's actually one of the independent creators, as I mentioned, who's actually starting to see this for what it is. I think I've seen him have this realization more than once. Tom and Andre over at Midnight's Edge, of course, have been talking about it for a while, made a video about it recently, and they're calling it out for what it is, and Nerdrotic has been seeing it as well. He's ventured down that path a little ways, and I've watched, you know, a few other people that I follow do the same thing. We really need more folks to see it for what it is. We really do. The attention economy is so much bigger, though, than I think even we can imagine, and it's actually growing quickly. It's why any kind of censorship outside of something that's blatantly criminal is just so dangerous. It's hard enough to compete with the corrupt corporate voices, and I'm going to put that in quotes, right? The corrupt corporate voices out there that are shouting out their messages and shouting down their messages, however you want to look at it, at pretty much everybody, and they're getting preferential treatment to do that. Just seems weird. Granting them power to censor, any of these entities that, you see things on, well, that should be even more criminal. That should be criminal in and of itself, actually. I think that's probably the best way to say that. They actually ought to be treated as criminals for censoring and, I guess, curating things. That's a form of censorship. And of course, I have a lot more to say. I mean, there's tons of material here. I could do a hour-long video on the attention economy. That's why I'm going to break these up, and I'll probably revisit this subject here next week or within the next month, right? This video, because of its length, well, I'm just going to leave it here and just say that I hope Yellow Flash watches this video and makes it to this point so that he can learn the following information. Because we're all asking this question. I mean, Yellow Flash is asking, I think Jeremy of the Quartering's asking, although he probably looked it up. Ryan Cannell's asking. Lots of people are asking. They've been talking about Whip Media. Whip Media has been in the news a lot lately, at least in regards to this particular show, She-Hulk, right? We're all looking at these numbers going, this doesn't jive, man. It's hard to understand why their data is so different or at odds with Nielsen's ratings or with Samba TV or with some of the other actual credible entities that have been tracking this stuff, at least when it comes to She-Hulk and some other shows. It's actually pretty simple. They work for all the major media companies. Whip Media works for them. They aggregate and market things. That's what they do. And they do that for these entities through their many different products and offerings that they have. And I'll give you an example. TV time. Yeah, that's one of the ways that they figure out what people watch, if it's an appointment, whether or not they watched it, all of that. They're trying to capture and actually solidify what would be the demand side of the equation, trying to figure out in advance what people will be interested in. So that actually fits into an equation that will reduce risk for the big studios. So there's financial incentive there. But you're being sold and repackaged multiple different ways by this one entity. And Whip's not a whole lot different than Parrot Analytics, analyzing trends. And of course, Samba's a different version of that, and so is Roku, and so on, and so on, and so on. In fact, when it comes to Whip Media, I mean, Whip Media Analytics was actually, I think they're just called Whip Media now. I'm not really sure, but they were founded by Richard Rosenblatt, who actually specializes in content aggregation companies now. At least at the moment, because he's founded and sold multiple companies and been part of multiple entities, including, I think, even MySpace at a point in time. And of course, Whip Media started out as something else. It's morphed into its current iteration with a couple of name changes along the way, and some acquisitions that actually helped all of this come together. So I imagine at some point, one of these large entities will come along and try to buy them. In fact, that actually makes a lot of sense. And this guy will go on and do more and more. I think he's collected hundreds of millions of dollars doing what he does, which I guess is the whole point of business. And I don't fault him for doing that. Everybody should make money, but it's on the backs of everybody, not just on direct customers, which this thing just drives me crazy. I just think it's hidden and it's very dangerous. Obviously, that's why I'm talking about it. But, and not Whip Media specifically, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything specifically about that. I'm talking in broader terms, but we'll continue, at least along to the end of the video, which I want to kind of end this with a very serious question. And it really doesn't have an easy answer, and it will likely inspire, conversations and arguments between creators and how we're going to go about all of this. And that question is this one. Do we stop aiding this part of the attention economy? Because we're actually doing it. I mean, I guess to put it another way, in other words, do we stop highlighting their outrage and their victimhood? Because it's what it is. It's outrage marketing. It is outside of an initial response. Do we stop? If you have suggestions for other ideas to combat the weaponization of the attention economy by big media, please let me know. use the comment section down below to answer that question. Let me know what you think about this and how we might combat this, because we should be doing it every day. I really could use a lot of engagement on this one because I want it to kind of spread like wildfire. So do share it out there. And of course, support all the independent creators on all of these platforms. I mentioned several during the course of this video that I watch regularly. And of course, I think they offer way more in terms of entertainment and conversation and critical thinking than any mainstream offering you're going to find right now, at least on most linear and streaming channels. But give them your support, because they're there for you and so am I. So if you hit the like button, you subscribe, make sure notifications are on, share out the content, and of course comment. That really helps us all, and it'll help you get more curated videos of things you might be interested in. And with that, I'll end the video the same way I always do. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye. Quick note, I do in the description have all of the links to the articles you can peruse yourself, and you can dive down the same digital rabbit hole that I did. There's a lot more out there, and it's a subject worth studying. So, feel free to dive in. That'll also help us have a conversation about this. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.